You ever wonder what makes a company, well, great? It's not just some brilliant idea or a killer product. Nope. Behind every single success story, there's this powerful, often hidden blueprint. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you exactly what that blueprint is and how it all works.
So, to really get our heads around this idea, we're going to start with a company we all know. Let's use this whole blueprint metaphor to deconstruct its, frankly, incredible success.
Amazon, it's kind of wild to think this company started as just an online bookstore. Today, it's this global powerhouse that's completely changed not just how we shop, but the very fabric of tech and logistics itself. Which, of course, brings us to the big question. How on earth did they do it? How did one company manage to expand so far beyond its original plan to become a dominant force in so many completely different industries? I mean, just look at the sheer scope here. We're talking retail, publishing, web services, healthcare, groceries. The list just goes on and on. Now, this level of complexity seems almost impossible to manage, right? But it all works together. The real secret isn't in any one of these things, but in the underlying blueprint that connects them all. It creates this powerful flywheel effect, where each part makes all the other parts even stronger. And that blueprint, that's what we call a business model. Put simply, it's the company's master plan. It spells out how a company creates value for you, the customer, how it gets that value to you, and, this is the critical part, how it makes money in the process. This right here is the key.
So if the business model is the blueprint, what's it made of? Let's break it down into 4 fundamental components that apply to any business out there, whether it's your local coffee shop or a global giant like Amazon.
Think of it like this. Every strong building needs pillars to hold it up. Well, a business model is no different. You've got your customer value proposition, your critical resources, your critical processes, and of course, the profit formula. Let's take a look at each one. First up, the customer value proposition. This is really the heart and soul of the model. It answers the most important question of all. What problem are you solving for somebody? For early Amazon, it was simple, giving you access to any book you could want, delivered conveniently. The value was all about selection and convenience. Next, you've got your critical resources. These are the absolute must-have assets you need to deliver on that promise. And listen, this isn't just about money. We're talking about your people, your technology, your warehouses, and yeah, the incredible power of your brand. Then you have critical processes. It's one thing to deliver value one time. It's a whole other ballgame to do it reliably for millions of customers, day in and day out. These are the operational systems, like Amazon's legendary world-class logistics network, that make your business repeatable, scalable, and built to last. And finally, the profit formula. This is the engine that makes it all go. It covers how you bring in revenue, what your costs look like, and what your target margins are. Bottom line, it explains how creating value for your customers also creates profit for the company. Okay, so we've got the 4 pillars, but there's another really cool way to look at this blueprint. You can basically split it into 2 different but totally connected halves, the part that faces the outside world and the part that describes what's happening inside the company itself. First is the outside view. This is the market-centric side. It's everything that faces the customer. As you can see, it's all about defining your value proposition for certain customers and figuring out your market opportunities. Essentially, it answers the big strategic question, where are we going to play? And then you've got the inside view, the company-centric analysis. This is the engine of the business, your key activities, your critical resources, your partners, and your cost structure. This half of the blueprint answers the other big question. How are we going to win? So here's where the magic happens. A truly brilliant business model perfectly aligns the inside with the outside. You can see right here how the internal company-centric machinery is built specifically to deliver on that external market-centric promise. When these 2 halves are totally in sync, you have a powerful, functioning business model. Okay, so we've seen the blueprint for a retail and tech giant. But how do these same principles apply to a modern digital company? Well, let's take a look at the playbook for Spotify. Millions of us use this app every single day. But behind this super simple interface is a very specific, very deliberate business model that was designed to completely change how we all listen to music. Spotify's whole playbook is built on what's called the freemium model. They hook millions of users with a fantastic free service, with the goal of converting a small fraction of them into paying subscribers. And this strategy has been incredibly successful for growing their user base and revenue. The challenge, though, and it's a big one, has always been turning that huge revenue stream into consistent profit, mostly because of the massive music royalties they have to pay out to record labels.
But here's the twist. Even the most brilliant blueprint can become a liability. See, a business model isn't something you just design once and then forget about. The world is always changing, and if your blueprint doesn't change with it, you're in real danger. The single biggest threat is this concept called active inertia. This is what happens when a company becomes so successful with its current model that it just gets stuck. It keeps doing what it's always done over and over, even when the world around it has completely moved on. It's like the curse of past success. And this leads to some really predictable traps. A company gets so focused on what worked yesterday that they totally ignore disruptive new competitors. They hold on to these outdated ideas about their customers, and they miss huge shifts in technology. And their once great blueprint for success becomes the very cage that traps them. So, how do you avoid this? How do you start to think like a business architect? Well, it all comes down to asking the right questions, whether you're starting a brand new venture or just reevaluating one that already exists. Step 1 is all about finding the right fit. You have to be crystal clear on who your target market really is and what fundamental need they have. Then you've got to be brutally honest with yourself. Does your solution actually fit that need and deliver real, tangible value? Step 2 is all about building a sustainable advantage. Look, it's not enough to just have a good idea. You have to know who your competitors are and define what makes you unique. What's your secret sauce? And maybe most importantly, what makes your model hard to copy? Because a great idea that anyone can imitate isn't a business, it's a hobby. That defensibility, that's the key to long-term success. At the end of the day, a business model is more than just a plan on paper. It's a dynamic tool for seeing the world and creating value within it. So the final question, really, is for you. Now that you have the blueprint, what will you build?